You're very welcome back. Now he's the dog listener that blends stand-up comedy with dog training advice.
You wouldn't normally put them together. Dog behaviourist Tony Knight is taken to the stage in Dublin tonight. Let's see what his audiences can expect.
So I got to that first stage with these dogs. I went, fantastic, right, could you fetch me the leads? I thought the husband was going to have a heart attack. Because he went, you have no idea. Oh, my God. So, right, fetch me the leads. Brought the leads out. You know how big Cocker Spaniels are, yeah? They were both pinging 6 feet in the air. You'd scream, Bob, you'd scream, Bob, 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 Bob. I tell you what, if you're worried about your dogs not getting enough exercise, you get the leads out and they do this for a few minutes, put the leads away, job done.
Good idea.
You're describing my life.
I often do.
Tony, you're so welcome to the 6 o'clock show.
Yeah, let's give Tony and I a round of applause. Come on. Yes.
Thank you.
Lots of doggy people today, lots of crew members with dogs. We're all going to be like this.
Yes.
Some tips and advice,
on
Tony.
the edge of their seats, yeah.
So, apart from almost feeling like you're inside everybody's home and describing their life to them, what can people expect from a show that combines comedy and training your dog?
What people can expect is to be watching it and go, have you met my dog? How do you know my dog? Because the behaviour that dogs exhibit all over the world is often very similar. So, you know, at some point in the show, I mimic how dogs try and play what I call the Game of Thrones with us, because they're trying to find out who's got the influence. And I'll do certain mimes and people go, that's my dog. That is my dog. So people will, you know, find something where they, you know, they'll go, yep, all right, so he knows how my dog thinks, and then, importantly, they'll find out what to do to start to change it. And it's almost like when they get home, they're going, right, you just wait.
Yeah.
I figured you out now. I have to ask, what is doggy Game of Thrones?
Right, OK, well, it's nothing to do with dragons.
You've opened the door now.
Yeah,
Yes.
OK, yes, I've opened the door. Basically, and this is what I explain in the show, dogs try and find out who's got the influence. And one of the ways they do that, and it's something that's related to them, their natural counterparts in nature.
Can I say, when you say influence, also do they try and find out who has the power?
Exactly that.
Right.
Exactly that. But it's not in a way that I'm going to get one over you.
Right.
Dogs know that there's got to be somebody that you trust to make the decisions in their group.
A pack leader.
Yeah. And what they do is they ask questions to find out who that is, but they do it in their language. Now, if we don't understand the language and we give them the wrong answers, the dogs go, right, well, you clearly can't do the job. I know someone's got to. I guess it's me. And that's where we get problems. That's where we get problems like separation anxiety, you know, aggression, too much barking, etc., etc. But the Game of Thrones is one of those ways that dogs ask questions, because if a dog can get you to come to them, they're on the throne. And some people will sort of come in from work and their dog's on the bed and the dog doesn't move, and they go all the way up to the dog and go, hello, boy, did you miss me? I missed you. You might as well put a line of gold and Jules and Ermine around that dog basket, because the dog's going, I'm on the throne, you're the peasant, peel me a grape.
Ooh.
Wow. Peasant.
There are people...
Peeling me a grape.
There are people all over the country going,
oh. I have to ask you, when did you combine your comedy with the dog training?
Yeah.
When did that happen? How and why?
It kind of happened a long time ago, Brian, but recently, well, during COVID, I was kind of stuck in Australia. There are worse places to be stuck. But I had that kind of feeling that, I need to do something to challenge myself, because I couldn't leave the country. And there was, you know, I've always been interested in stand-up comedy. I've been doing dog training for over 25 years. But I thought, I wonder if I could put the two together. I wonder if I could do stand-up comedy, first of all. So I entered a competition in Melbourne and did well. And I thought, yeah, I can do this. And so I'm kind of a regular on the Melbourne comedy circuit now. And I did this show at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. But my thought was, always has been, when you're learning something, it's good to enjoy the learning process because it helps you to remember.
Yes.
We remember the difference between good teachers and bad teachers. You know?
If something's fun.
Yeah, if it's fun, you remember it and you're inspired to do it. So I always wanted to make my presentations when I did talks about dogs to be entertaining. So it wasn't a great stretch of the imagination to suddenly go, I wonder if I could chuck some more jokes in and make it more of a comedy show. But that was a leap of confidence on my part, because the idea of saying it's a comedy show was a bit more pressure on me.
Yes.
But I've found that it's working. But it seemed almost like inevitable and, to be honest, a no-brainer. Once I started to do it, I thought, why didn't I do this before?
Fair play to you. And it is amazing how COVID made people take on these challenges for themselves. It has brought a lot of new skills out of people. Something you've always had, though, is dog listening. What's that?
Dog listening, you know, it's semantics, I guess, because some people say dog whisperer or dog trainer. Basically, dogs try and communicate with us. The idea of whispering is almost like, you do as I say or else. house. You know, it's a bit, okay,
That's almost
calm
like
down.
bringing up a child.
I'm sure it is.
Do what I'm telling you or else.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always the best argument a parent can give.
Yeah.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. Nice one. Listening is about understanding that dogs have a language. And when you tune into that and you understand it, and more importantly, you're able to give the right information back, you get dogs that go from stressed to calm, from anxious to relaxed, from aggressive to, you know, all right, it's not my problem anymore. Maybe I'll just chill out. And it's great. You see the changes in dogs sometimes immediately. And I've changed people's lives. I've changed dogs' lives. I've saved dogs' lives doing this. And it's a great job. And for me, it's if you can enjoy the process, you'll want to do it.
You got your dog listening talents from your mom, Jan, and she got to meet the famous horse whisperer, Monty Roberts.
Yeah.
What advice did Monty give your mom that she perhaps passed on to you?
Totally. The piece of advice, the number one piece of advice that Monty gave, because my mum, I remember growing up, my mum always had questions about dog training. She tried to do the best, but always felt like there was something missing. What Monty said was, what I did was I looked to see what the horses were actually doing among themselves. Rather than having any idea of my own or any, received wisdom from humans, what are the horses doing? And then I saw what they were doing and I thought, I wonder if I can mimic that. So what we did was we went and we studied wild canines and also our own dogs in the house and saw the similarities. We saw that our black German Shepherd, Sasha, was basically acting like the leader that you find in wild packs of, that could be African wild dogs, wolves. I've worked with dingoes as well. It keeps coming up time and time again. So what we did was tune in and go, right, so you see what Sasha's doing there? How about we do that? And the dogs calmed down. And initially, all it was, we've got happy, relaxed dogs. We're good. The problem was people around started going, your dogs are calm. What did you do?
Yeah.
And so we started to tell people, and then it just exploded.
Okay, on behalf of everybody in Ireland who has a crazy dog,
Right.
who doesn't listen when they go, shh, what do you do to calm your dog down? Will you give us that tip?
Well, how long have you got? I mean, the thing is...
We've got just under 2 minutes.
Right, okay.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, there are so many things that we can do because there are certain times where dogs ask questions. And there are 4 elements which are the most important ones. And they're food, the hunt, which is going for a walk, danger, which is when you get dogs that bark, and the everyday status. And that's where the Game of Thrones comes in, by the way. They will find out who goes where. So if I was to give one piece of advice to everybody to already start to get a better relationship with their dogs, and incidentally, this advice will prevent over 95% of dog bites around the world.
This is golden.
This is huge.
This is it, people.
This is
Listen,
huge.
pen and paper.
Okay. If you want to say hello to your dog,
Yeah.
call your dog to you. Don't go up to the dog.
So beckon the dog.
Because then the dog...
Beckon or order?
Look, it's a request, you know.
Yeah.
Request.
It's your best friend. You
Yeah.
don't say to your best friend, it's great to see you. Sit in that chair and don't move. We don't do that
Some
with our
friends
best
you
friend.
kind of have to.
Are they really friends?
Oh.
So the fact is what we're doing there is we're giving the dog a choice to come to us, but also the dog has got to come to us. And that's really demonstrative, especially among wild canines and domestic dogs. And if we tap into that, we're avoiding any problems because most people that get bitten by a dog are invading the dog's personal space without permission. And there are some dogs that go, what do you think you're doing? Leave me alone.
Yeah. Before we let you go, some questions here. One from Robert in Carlo. How do I get the dog to stop barking at a delivery person?
Right, okay. First, why? The dog thinks, I'm responsible for you. I'm going to protect you from any danger that I see around me, and this is a regular danger. So the dog's going, get away.
Yeah.
What you don't do is tell your dog to shut up. You don't get angry at your dog. Because the dog doesn't think, oh, you're being angry at me. The dog thinks, I knew you weren't happy about that thing, and it reinforces it.
Okay.
What I do with my dogs is when they bark at something, sounds crazy, but I say thank you. Because I want to be calm, and I want my dogs to understand that their job is not to protect me, but to alert me. And then I will make the decision to see if there's something going on. If your dog's really freaking out, just without a word, put them in a room, wait for them to calm down, so they learn that being quiet is the thing that will get them to come back. Because the best form of control is self-control, and dogs can learn that.
Thank you for barking.
Claire in Cork says, this is something that a lot of people are experiencing after COVID now and they're going back to work. My dog is lonely and crying when we're at work and at school. Any suggestions? Radio, music, even YouTube, dog, TV doesn't seem to be working.
No, it won't.
sad.
And again, the reason why is going to make you even more sad. If the dog thinks it's responsible for you, it's got to look after you, and then you leave the house, what parent wouldn't freak out if their baby goes missing?
Oh.
So that's what's going on. So that's why dogs will howl, chew furniture, chew themselves, mess in the house. It's go, where's the baby? So what we've got to do is change our dogs' minds about who makes the decisions. And when you come home, dogs are really pleased to see you, aren't they?
Yes.
I think relieved's a better word. Okay, where the hell have you been?
Wagging that tail.
Yeah, exactly. And people think a wagging tail means a dog's happy, right? A dog can bite you when it's wagging its tail. So the best thing to do is initially, and it's really tough, and I talk about this in the show, is when you come home, don't say anything to your dog until they leave you alone. Once they've left you, I know, and that was that
You're
great.
making all the mistakes.
That is
He's talking to you.
There are 3 barriers that get in the way.
It's difficult.
Yes, it is.
Because they're giving you the puppy eyes, they're giving you this excited body language.
Yeah.
And there's endorphins when you make
Absolutely.
contact.
But there's also a huge amount of communication between the dogs and the people. And this is what they do among themselves. And the leaders basically, initially, come in and don't look. And by doing that, they're saying, I have a personal space that you should respect. And then the leaders can come and go. That's nobody's problem. The baby's the problem. So it's tough, but you only have to delay it. And then when the dog's left you alone, think, brilliant. Then call the dog to you and don't lose the Game of Thrones.
Tony, thank you for joining us. Don't lose the game. Give it up for Tony, everybody. Yes. And Tony Knight brings his show, Mad Dogs and an Englishman, to the Mutiny Theatre tonight. If you'd like more info about Tony, check out his website, tonyknightdoglistener.com. Gorgeous dog there as well.
Fabulous dog. OK, that told me. Coming up, we're getting all the goss from the world of showbiz.
That's happening after the break. See you in a bit. Gotta be tough.
I know.